colleagues, good afternoon. I will tell you the findings of the evaluation of the influenza-like illness sentinel surveillance system in Republic of Macedonia during the 2015 and 2017 period. Seasonal influenza is an acute respiratory infection caused by influenza viruses that circulates in all parts of the world. Illnesses range from mild to severe, with 3 to 5 million cases of severe illnesses all over the world, and even death cases are registered. Complication, hospitalizations, and death cases occur mainly in high-risk groups, and the best way to prevent this disease in this high-risk group is vaccination. Seasonal influenza in the Republic of Macedonia is a mandatory notifiable disease for more than 35 years as a part of the universal system for reporting and surveillance. Nevertheless, we saw the need for implementing sentinel surveillance system in 2014-2015 season. We followed the WHO case definitions, and we included 6 sites in the initial phase. In the next season, we included 7 more sites, and we had 13, which covered 1.7% of the total population. WHO recommends an evaluation to be performed every 1 to 2 years for the ELIS surveillance system, and this is the first evaluation of the Sentinel system in Macedonia. The objectives of this evaluation were to evaluate the extent to which attributes of the ELIS Sentinel surveillance system are performing effectively, and to identify strengths and weaknesses in order to make changes or adjustments to the system according findings. For this evaluation, we used the CDC guide, and we evaluated 34 indicators for 8 attributes. We divided indicators in quantitative and qualitative. We analyzed data quality and completeness, timeliness, representativeness, and flexibility by using the existing EPI and lab databases. And for the qualitative indicators, simplicity, acceptability, stability, and utility, we used anonymous web-based questionnaire for the ELIS sites. We applied the questionnaire to all 13 sites, and the study period was the last 2 influenza seasons. For the scoring, we used qualitative and quantitative analysis for each indicator was scored in 3 grades as weak, moderate, and good performance. The attribute score was calculated as an average of the indicator's score, the indicators attached to that attribute, and the overall score for the surveillance system was calculated as an average of the attribute scores. We accepted as a target performance only good performance. Now I will show the results from the quantitative indicators. For the data quality and completeness, we analyzed 6 indicators, and 5 of them met the target performance. Only 1 of them, the available samples from the ELI cases, didn't met. So the attribute score for data quality and completeness was calculated as 84.5%, which means good performance. For timeliness, we analyzed 4 indicators, and 2 of them did not meet the target performance. That were the collection forms received by the target date. For us, it was Tuesday, and samples received within 72 hours. The attribute score for this for timeliness was 79.2, which means moderate performance. For representatives, we analyzed 2 indicators, the geographic coverage and inclusion of age groups, and both of them met the target performance, and the attribute score was 92.5, which means good performance. For flexibility, we analyzed 4 indicators, and we saw that 2 of them did not meet the target performance. One of them was the changes in the distribution of ELI sites, because this is a young system, and we do implement more and more in ELI Sentinel sites, and we haven't implemented yet an electronic reporting system. The attribute score was calculated at 63.5, which means moderate performance. Now I will show the results for the qualitative indicators. For utility, we analyzed four indicators, and we found that one of them did not meet the target performance. It was the usefulness for indicating the start of the season according to the staff in the Ili Sentinel sites when they answered to the questionnaire. The attribute score for this for utility was calculated as 87.5, which means good performance. For stability, we analyzed 6 indicators, and we saw that 2 of the indicators did not meet the target performance. One of them was the site that has some problems with the transport with the courier. We'll see that again in the next indicators. We'll have another issue with that. The attribute score for this stability was 76.9, which means moderate performance. For simplicity, we analyzed 5 indicators, and only one of them met the target performance. That's the weekly report. And again, we have several problems with the courier and shipment of specimens to the national laboratory. The attribute score for simplicity was calculated at 64.6, which means moderate performance. For the acceptability of the system, we analyzed three indicators, and none of them met the target performance. We had some problems with sending the results from the virologic sending the results from the virology laboratory back to the Ili Sentinel sites. The attribute score for acceptability was calculated at 66.6%, which means moderate performance. Analyzing the indicators, we saw that 19 indicators had good performance, 8 indicators had moderate, and 7 had weak performance. When we analyzed the scores from the attributes, we found good performance in three attributes: data quality and completeness, representativeness, and utility. And we found moderate performance in timeliness, flexibility, stability, simplicity, and acceptability. When we calculated attribute scores, we didn't find weak performance. The overall score for the Ili Sentinel surveillance system in Macedonia was calculated at 79.2%, which means moderate performance. The only limitation in this study was the anonymity of the questionnaire. We found that the online version can still track the email of the sender. As conclusion, we saw that 19 of the 34 indicators and 3 of the 8 attributes met the expected performance, good performance, and that the overall score suggests that the system has moderate performance to meet the objectives, so further investment is needed. Therefore, we recommended several recommendations. We need to implement an electronic system. We need to train the involved staff for filling in the databases. We need to hire full-time courier for specimen collection. We need to collect more than 1 specimen per week, and we need to train the responsible staff at the Ili sites for timely sending of all needed data. At the end, I want to thank the colleagues from the Institute of Public Health, the national supervisors, and the scientific coordinator for their help during the evaluation process and for this presentation. And of course, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dragan, for this clear, constructed, comprehensive presentations, and the floor is open for questions or comments. Please.
Thank you very much, Dragan. I am Maria Grazia Dente from Italian Health Institute in Rome. Just one clarification. I was wondering why you had to did it anonymously. You know that could be also part of your training after an assessment. So why you think that would have been better to do in this way? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. We thought that if we made the questionnaire anonymous, we get more sincere feedback from the Ili Sentinel sites. We did a pilot testing of the questionnaire, and when we compare to the results we got from the real testing, there were clear differences. They gave us better grades when we were there and piloted the questionnaire, and when we compared to the real ones, they were different. That's why we used anonymous.
Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. I have two questions. The first one is, maybe you presented it, but I cannot recall it. The way you went for selecting the participants, the population of your survey, and if you can consider any potential confounders or biases in general with the way you went for them. And my second question is, your overall score for the performance of the system is almost 80%, which is a very good one. But when you stratify by attributes in your last conclusions, you mentioned that 19 out of the 34 had met the desired level, the expected level, and 3 out of the 8. How do you view this? How is this reflected in your conclusions and in your recommendations on what you want to do? Because if we remain with the 80%, we can say that it is very good. But it seems that some of the attributes were excellent and some others were suboptimal.
Yes. Thank you for your questions. I will answer the second question first. We had 79.2, but if we see as you mentioned, 19 of the indicators met the 80%, and 3 of the 8 attributes met the 80%. But most of them, the ones that met, had, for example, 98, 99, even 100%. And the one that did not met had a lower percentage. That's why we got 79.2. The main recommendations were addressing the ones that had lower percentage, like the electronic surveillance system, the transport problems. We had in several indicators problems with the courier. And for the first question, for the selection of the participants, I said at the beginning that we included all 13 Ili Sentinel sites.
Nicoletta asking about what are the methods for selections in these sites. Do you mean this, Nicoletta? Or?
Okay. Yes, we selected all.
Now we would like last question or comment. Okay. No questions, no comments. Thank you, Dragan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.